This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. My co-host is Katie Huckle, back from her Nashville vacation last weekend, and you left me behind with the ladies of the
Giving
Cadillac
Circle?
Area Women's Giving Circle, but it worked out great.
I'll
It was a
bet
wonderful
those
show.
ladies were running you, not you running the interview. How did it go?
Robin and Dr. Tanya were really, really great. And we do want to say that all of our shows are archived on our YouTube page,
Yes.
107.9 CDY on YouTube. All of the shows going all the way back to the beginning, almost 5 years ago, are there for you. And we invite you to listen. And we will have this show on in perpetuity. So,
Yes, that's right.
So last year, there was an event called Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash.
Okay.
It was the first annual event, and the second annual is this year. And Jamie Hinkley is here. And Jamie, first of all, good morning. And second of all, tell us about this event. We want to talk about Sophie as well and the inspiration for the event, but what's going to happen this year? This is at the Wex, and it's next Friday, the 27th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So Friday, September 27th, we're starting at 3 p.m. We'll be starting with a craft show.
Okay.
So we've got over 30 vendors coming in that'll all be lined up selling a lot of spooky items because this is a very Halloween-flavored event, but we're not excluding anybody either, so there's going to be a smattering of different things. We'll also have thankfully, the Northern District Fairgrounds were kind enough to host us again this year, and they'll be offering concessions, and we'll also have a food truck coming.
Yum.
Oh, yeah. So
Before we go further into this, though, I want to go into the event towards the end of the show, but we need to learn, for those in the community who don't know, about Sophie and the inspiration for this event. Your young daughter, right?
yes.
Give us the details.
Okay. Well, it's she actually passed away 1 year ago tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's still pretty challenging to talk about, a lot of it. She went through a really long and difficult battle with cancer. And so
At what age was she diagnosed, Jamie?
Oh, geez. She was diagnosed at age 7,
Okay.
and we lost her at age 9.
Okay.
So it was a little over a year and a half of battling with that, and boy, it doesn't matter how. I'm an insurance agent by trade, so health and life insurance is my game, and unfortunately, I didn't even have the forethought to plan for something like that. A lot of people don't, because you don't think your kids are ever going to get sick like that. Well, unfortunately, about 1/3 of us will contract some form of cancer before age 20 in our lives. And so it's definitely a thing to plan for. So we want to use this, and it just so happens to be Childhood Cancer Awareness Month too. So we want to use this event to help gather some steam to make people more aware of these kinds of problems so that maybe they can help either get some funding to battle these problems too, or they can try to set themselves up so that maybe they don't have to scramble like we did. Thankfully, we have a very great support a supportive community here that was very helpful. They put together the event along with our family and friends to help us get through this difficult time after we lost her.
How therapeutic was last year's event for the Hinkley family?
It was pretty terrifying.
Probably you'd never. You were in the midst of all the grief at the time, so
Yes.
probably didn't have a whole lot of time to organize.
No, we certainly didn't. We didn't have much of a hand in it at all. We were there the day of and helped hand out candy and participated, and we're just in awe of everything everyone did. We had Elliot Gurdon of Gurdon's Construction there put together an awesome haunted house. And that's something that people have talked about throughout the entire year here, is how awesome that haunted house was. And he's coming back this year, too, to make it even bigger and better. That's kind of the name of the game we're going for, is to make it bigger and better. For one thing, a lasting legacy for my daughter, and to help. Excuse me?
Nope, it's perfectly fine. Yeah. Tell us about her connection to Halloween. What was Sophie, made Sophie and Halloween simpatico?
It was her favorite holiday, for starters. That and Christmas, of course, right? Mm-hmm. But she just loved all things spooky, and I think probably because that's something we share together.
And it was whose idea was it to name this Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash?
That was my title. Last year it was a little bit longer because it was meant to be kind of a posthumous birthday celebration for her too.
Okay.
At the time when this was organized, was the thought that it was going to be a fundraiser, and then things kind of changed. Obviously,
We knew that they were going to be doing some fundraising to help us out, and I mean I'm thankful that they did, and we definitely needed it. And even now, a year later, we're still struggling to get back on track. I mean, again, I can't really stress enough how hard it is for people to deal with these kinds of things, and they don't think about it. You don't think about the lost work, or all the additional medical expenses and things that insurances don't cover. And that's why we're highlighting another family this year. So a good portion of what we're raising this year will be going toward the Benson family to care for baby Lane, who's born with some really difficult medical problems and will require a lot of care going in the future.
What a way to give back.
Well,
I mean, that is a legacy of Sophie's name. That is the thought that maybe you'll do that in the future every year.
that's the plan. We're
Okay.
looking, I mean, this is the second annual, and we're looking to carry it on every year that we're able to, and hopefully gain more and more steam every year.
How was the Benson family chosen?
The Benson family, I want to say at random, but there are also people that we know through the community. I used to work with Emily Benson at Avon Automotive years and years ago, and we heard about their story. We were touched to the end. We knew that they needed help, so we figured what a good way to put. Instead of just giving back to the hospital or just giving to an organization, we can help a family directly, and just like we were helped. And I think that's something we'll probably continue every year.
You know, Jamie, when you're telling this story about you showed up and handed out candy and you were amazed at what the community and your friends in the community pulled off, you know, it brings me back to how many times have we said when someone is hurting and grieving, let me know if I can help. Let me know what I can do. But how many times did that phone call never come, right? And so when I look at this situation, it's a good reminder to all of us that step up and do something when somebody is hurting, someone is grieving, someone has lost something. In this case, your folks did it in a very organized fashion, built momentum, and now what we've got is a legacy for your daughter.
Yes, and we're still floored by everything that everyone did last year, and we're just trying to live up to it. And
Right.
if we can make it bigger, that's great.
Uh-huh.
But creating that legacy is really my number one goal, something that Sophia will never get to do.
Tell us about your T-shirt.
Okay, well, this is the symbol for our event that I made. It's, I call it the Heart of Lantern. So it's an orange jack-o'-lantern heart shape, and on the back of my shirt there's the name of our event and a QR code, so if anybody sees me walking down the street they can scan my back, and it'll take them straight to our Facebook page.
Okay, great. That's a good way, and they can find out all of the details. They can contribute if they want to. Do you need volunteers?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We're looking for volunteers, looking for donations of all types, because we have a silent auction and raffle for the Bensons. All proceeds are going to them for that. We also, I have a laundry list of things here. We need candy donations for the trunk or treat. It would be a huge help too, and
Okay.
participants for the trunk or treats.
Okay.
I mean, I could talk for an hour just on all the stuff we want to do, you know.
Well, okay, so let's say I'm a mother of a young family, and I show up. What can I expect for my children? Walk us through that.
All right. Well, to begin with, if you like craft shows, you show up and wander the craft show. We'll have live music playing starting at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So that GT Vinyl, those guys are coming down to spin actual vinyl records for us.
Cool.
So yeah, and we're hoping to, if enough people are in the mood and everything's right, that we can get a little dance going, because we'll have a nice dance floor set
Sure.
up. Again, we'll have the haunted house that also starts at 4 o'clock. There'll be food, prizes, wagon rides. The guys at the fair are happy to tool us around with wagon rides, and so
What's the cost?
the cost is absolutely nothing. We
Incredible.
wanted to maintain that from last year and continue that. We couldn't do free food this year. There will be a few free candy and snacks and stuff like that, but a lot of the concession money and things like that will also be going to charity. And so that's the name of the game here. We want to build this up to be a nice family event, a Halloween-focused thing that I think has been lacking in Cadillac really since I've lived here. Geez, almost 20 years now.
Okay.
And so us being such huge Halloween fans as it is, we want to see that grow in the town, create the legacy for Sophia and hopefully help a lot of people.
You said a silent auction, so people can
Yes.
walk around and make bids on things.
Yes, so we're still collecting donations for the silent auction. So any kind of, we're not particular. It's just we're trying to get together a bunch of items, and like I said, all those donations will go to the Benson family to help care for Lane.
Businesses, listen
Yes.
closely.
Yes, listen closely, and I will make you a Halloween Katie cake.
Oh,
yes, I
that'd be
will.
great. There's also going to be a bake sale. I didn't mention that.
Oh, well, there you
So
go.
we'll have
We'll
a
have to
bake
do
sale
something
as
for
well.
that and for the auction and make it, what I like to do around Halloween is cover it in really fun, spooky things because then kids say to mom and dad, let's bid on this, let's bid on this. You know what I mean? They get mom and dad bidding if you make the cake visually appealing to children, you know.
Sure.
So.
Katie cakes, in case you didn't know, Jamie, Katie cakes are incredible.
Oh.
They are rich. They are no. My wife asks for a certain cherry cake every time for her birthday, and she gets one. And these things are thick enough to stop a door. They are. No, they are.
Good.
They are just amazing. So the fact that this event is getting one is a big deal.
Yeah, hopefully it sells for a lot of money.
Jeez, I'm on board. I don't look like a guy who turns down cake.
Well, I also look at how fitting this is because you see in Cadillac the houses and how everybody likes to decorate for Halloween and, the lights. And then some people take on the scary, the goblins and the ghouls and the ghosts and the scary things too. But to have the recipients be children when Halloween is focused on children and their costumes. And there's never a time of the year when candy is as accepted as a major food group as Halloween, I had neighbors for years that restricted their children's candy, and I can remember how excited everybody got on Halloween. They had the pillowcases, and it was sort of like go for broke. Today we have.
It's also a major reason why November 1st is a PD day for teachers, because we know that on the night of the 31st, the kids are a little too sugared up to go to sleep early.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I giggle too at the amount of adults that kind of peer over their kid's shoulder to look and see what the loot is because they might have a favorite in there. I'm telling you.
I will take the Kit Kats as a dad tax.
Okay, Jamie, the dad tax. Okay, what's your very favorite Halloween candy at all?
That one's easy. Snickers.
Okay.
Yep, I'm a sucker for Snickers. I'll take 'em.
What about those Reese's Puffy Pumpkins that only come out at Halloween?
Oh, those are amazing too.
Those are good too.
Yep. Every time they make a shaped Reese's, we're there too.
Jamie, you had alluded to the fact that the haunted house that was built by Elliot Gurdon last year was amazing, and the community still talks about it. Did you go through it?
I did.
Okay.
We did. Toward the end of the night, and trunk or treating had died down, and the wife and I just wandered over there because we could still hear the screaming. And this was clear across the fairgrounds. So we were like, okay, we have to check this out. Everybody's ranting and raving about this. So we go over there. We go through it. It was amazing. Those guys put together just an awesome haunted house in the worst weather you can imagine, and then had to put it up again because the wind blew half of it down.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So the weather for last year's event was not good.
The weather was...
We'd love to have a day just like today.
Our fingers are crossed that having it a little bit earlier this year, and the way the weather has been so far, that it'll hold out and we'll get even bigger turnout. That was the thing that surprised us the most, is that for as miserable as the weather was last year, we still had an amazing turnout. That told us two things: that this community is very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And that there's a need for stuff like this in this town.
Very much so. And again, without an expensive ticket. See,
Yes.
To be able to bring your family. You get into craft shows and food trucks and hay rides all for free. There's something for everybody now.
Yes.
In the haunted house too. I for one, I don't want to go to the haunted house.
I should mention, I
Okay.
wanted to be specific about the haunted house, and I haven't talked to Elliot about this a lot.
Okay.
But we bounced the idea around of having, because the haunted house is going to be larger this year, I should mention, and in similar but slightly different location.
Okay.
It'll be a little more enclosed.
Where was it last year?
Last year, it was in an open barn that they have at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
This year, that's where the music is going to be. And not only that, like I said, a million things to mention.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at GT Vinyl panel and myself, we are beginning a vintage media club, and our inaugural meeting will be that night at Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash, where we will be showing Night of the Living Dead on a nice big 270-inch screen.
Oh. How cool. Talk about collaboration. And hats off to Elliot Gurdon, too. We have got to give him the big round of applause for, putting the amount, sometimes we see with builders that everybody's asking him for favors. And for him just to step up and do this that's big time. So thank you.
I owe the guy a dinner for sure, at the very least. But and I wanted to mention about the haunted house. Because there were concerns about it being a little too scary for some of the smaller ones last year, we've talked about having a scary side and a not so scary side.
Ooh, so that way, I love that
something
idea.
for the littler ones.
Yeah, the little ones, or anybody who just doesn't want the startle scares or a running chainsaw in their face.
You don't want to have someone in painted up in bloody makeup to come at you with a chainsaw? Katie?
No, that sounds like that doesn't sound fun at all. In fact, I have a girlfriend who has a private Halloween party, and now that they're middle schoolers, her boys are. Mm-hmm. And she said to me last year, what we're going to do is we're going to put you in a wedding dress and then coat you in blood, and then you're going to be in a truck, but the truck's going to be totaled. So we have this old rundown truck, and then you're just going to jump out and scare you. I said, I have no intentions of doing that. I said, I don't want to do that. Sounds really scary to me. So I get.
But there are people who love that kind of stuff.
That's the name of the game.
Yes.
My little daughter would have loved it.
Is that right?
And she would not have been scared by it.
Oh, she might have been scared. She would have been scared for sure, but she still would have loved it. And that it's a weird thing, isn't it?
Did you prepare her for that by watching? Did she watch scary movies at a young age?
Watched all the scary movies.
Really?
She loved them. Scream, the whole Scream series is probably her favorites. I would say.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah, she dressed up as Ghostface. Had the little costume, and it's adorable. And
oh my goodness! Yeah, you prepared her well. So thus the name. I really like it, and it's family friendly. Spooky Sophie's. It's one of those. Well, this sounds like something we're going to pack the kids up and take them to.
Yes, we are planning. There have been talks about we want to do more events on the fairgrounds, and the fairgrounds are all for us. All organizing, getting together, and having some more fun things at the fair.
Totally in support of that. That is a beautiful area. It's a beautiful piece of land that deserves to have things going on it more than just a week out of the year.
Exactly.
I agree 100%. And the location of our fairgrounds is optimal.
Perfect.
It is.
And they have all that space there, and it's just we want to see it utilized, and I know the Fair Board wants to see it utilized too. So we're going to continue to work with them. We're considering putting on a fundraiser earlier in the summertime to help fund Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash, but to make that more of an adult affair, where maybe we've talked about doing drive-in movies there. The ideas are running wild right now.
Okay.
But the point is more fun things happening, and with that, more things for charity and just helping people in our community.
It's like a fundraiser where people aren't really being asked to get out their pocketbook, but by bidding on auction items and things like that, they can still be donating that way.
Yes, exactly. And people can donate if they want, if they're able to, and if they can't, that's also part of this. We want this to be open to everybody. Don't feel obligated to donate if you're not in a place to do so. To that end, we also have a costume giveaway that was part of the show last year, and we're doing that again this year, and we have even more costumes than before. So people can show up starting at 3:30 and come pick out costumes for their kids. Because some people, with the cost of food rising and cost of everything rising, Halloween costumes are probably no different. So we want to see people dressed up.
You're covering all of the bases, and you're doing it in such a way that it's ahead of time for folks for trick-or-treating. There's enough time.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a good solid month before trick-or-treating time. And there will be more trunk-or-treats and all kinds of stuff over the course of the following month too.
Sure, with churches and things like that. So can we go through the itinerary of the day? So it's the 27th, is that correct?
Yes.
27th.
So Friday, September 27th at the Northern District Fairgrounds.
Okay. And you're starting with the craft show at what time?
Yeah, the craft show starts at 3 o'clock. We were initially going to have everything start at 4, but a bunch of the crafters were like, why can't can't we start earlier?
Sure.
I said, well, why can't we? So
Right.
we'll be there at 3 o'clock, started with the craft show. So they'll have a good solid hour before music begins and the haunted house begins. And then from there, like I said, at 3:30, they also have the costume giveaway.
Okay.
When it comes to the silent auction, that also will start at 4 o'clock, the silent auction and raffle items. People can come peruse and start putting in their names and prices and all that good stuff.
And it is not too late to donate to that, right?
No, it is not too late to
Okay.
donate to anything, or if you want to get involved in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we're not exclusive to anything, and we're open to new ideas. And just because I have flyers made and out there doesn't mean we can't have more things. We really want to get a live band for at some point here. It was too tricky and to pull it together this year with all of just so much happening all at once. But hopefully for next year. And another nice thing would be any performers. If you put on a spooky show of any kind, or if you just like to dress up and want to scare people on the fly, get a hold of us, because we wouldn't mind having scare actors just walk around the grounds and spook people.
I was working in the lab late one night.
Yes, exactly.
Eek! I'm
Or
going to stay at the craft show.
and to that end, we also, I haven't even mentioned this, the Landing Dance Academy, where my daughters dance. They will be doing a little dance performance for us too, and so that'll be added to the fun. Just a little thing into the mix.
Awesome.
And we want more of that. So we're inviting anybody who wants to come and do something like that.
Right.
Let us be your venue. We have too much space to not have it filled with people doing fun stuff for Halloween. That's the whole name of this. Let's do it.
So if there's someone listening that wants to get involved, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Okay, so they can reach us pretty quickly and easily through Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash Facebook page.
Okay.
Or, I mean, you can contact me directly by phone at 231-942-1493.
He has given his phone number
Whoa.
out and putting it out there in the public. So that means Jamie Hinkley is serious.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and I am a licensed life and health insurance agent, so my phone number is already out.
Gotcha. Okay.
But well, I don't mind having it out there for other things that aren't work related too. So this is something that's very important to us and will continue to be important to us moving forward. So anybody who wants to get involved in any way, just reach out.
Last year when you had it a little further into October, right?
Yes, yeah, it was a little further along.
When you organized it last year, were you considering other things that were going on in the community, or was it just we're gonna run with this?
Well, I've got to be completely honest with you. We did not have much of a hand in the timing of that, just because we were lost in our grief.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we had friends and family, and the community really pulled together to put it on more or less for us. And yeah, so I'm sure that they were pretty conscious of what was going on, but they did the best they could, and they really made it happen in a few weeks' time.
Incredible. You know, I've heard this over and over, and I'm seeing that it's true, that, you know, the pain that, you know, one family can go through can be a light and a beacon for others. And going through it is excruciating, as you know. But then I look at this baby Lane now, and what your family and the momentum from your daughter Sophie is bringing to that family. And it's powerful.
It's good stuff.
Thank you.
It is. It really is. September 27th. Are you going to thinking that the late September time frame is kind of what you're going to shoot for every year now?
Well, and
I do like the timing, because you know you're far enough post.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not into fall yet, really. But as far as you know the colors go, but you're far enough outside of summer that's a time of year when people are looking for things to do.
Yes.
That and the costume thing. I mean, we had Love in the Name of Christ in here, and we found out they're handing out birthday party bags because families can't afford a cake, and they can't afford cupcake holders and candles and little gifts and things. And so you're meeting a community need with that costume giveaway. I hope someone out there is going to write a check for you guys so that you can buy even more costumes for children.
Or bring you costumes.
Bring you costumes.
Yeah.
But you're far enough ahead of Halloween now, because Don't you remember being little and thinking September 1, what you're going to wear 2 months from now for Halloween? It was a big deal.
Well, the stores are putting Halloween stuff out on their shelves right after the 4th of July.
They're finally doing it earlier and earlier because
they are.
The fervor for Halloween has gotten a lot larger, and I have a theory about that.
Well, let's hear it.
What is your theory?
Well, I think that people are getting a little more interested in Halloween because it's one of the only holidays that comes with nothing but fun. There's no obligation, no presents to buy. I mean, you have to get a costume and some candy and stuff, but it's all just in the name of good fun. And you can participate as little or as much as you like. And I think that it's a stress-free holiday for the most part. And
I'm smiling because I made 13 side dishes and 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving last year, which I enjoy doing, right? But when you mentioned it as a holiday, I'm like, that's right. We don't really have to do anything other than have fun.
Exactly.
Good point, Jamie.
It's St. Snickers Day is what it is.
Yes.
Well, no, you said Kit Kat.
Well, for Jamie, I said
Oh, okay. Yes.
It all comes full circle to the Snickers.
Yeah.
So will you dress up?
I will be dressing up for sure. Last year I was Oogie Boogie from A Nightmare Before Christmas. That was fun, but inflatable costumes are challenging to say the least. This year I'm not quite sure yet what it'll be. Sometimes I like to have 2 costumes. Like I also had Jason Voorhees in reserve just in case got a little too chilly.
Ooh, yee.
And you never know what the weather's going to be. So
It sounds like you know all the characters from all the Halloween movies.
I've watched a few horror movies in my day. So
Whoa, okay.
What do you have on that sheet that we haven't gotten to yet? Because we've got
Let's
about
see.
4 minutes left.
What have we not talked about yet? We've got the costume giveaway that begins at 3:30, trunk or treat that starts at 4 o'clock. By the way, still looking for candy donations and for people to sign up to give things away. We have a bake sale that will start at 4 o'clock. The donations there will be going to the Sophia Fund at the Landing Dance Academy. I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
That is wonderful because, it is not, shall we say, inexpensive to send your kids to Landing Dance Academy. What they do with the kids there is unbelievable.
It is.
So to have a scholarship fund there for that might help those who otherwise couldn't afford it.
Well, now I got to bake 2 cakes. I got to bake
there you
1
go.
cake for the bake sale and 1 cake for the silent auction. But yes, okay, we're listening.
Oh, and I'm just making sure I've got everything. I think I've mentioned the silent auction and raffles. Those will begin at 4 o'clock. The raffle drawing will be at 6:30, and the silent auction will end at 7:30, and you have to be present to win.
Ooh,
so that's
I
pretty
like
important
that.
there. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, this is all just in the name of good fun and charity, so that we can help people in our community and continue to bring fun and exciting things to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Start time is at 3 o'clock. About how long do you anticipate it lasting?
Well, the trunk or treat ends at 7:30. We figure the movie showing will begin around 8:30, and we chose We chose Night of the Living Dead for one thing because it's a little lighter fare. So if you want to keep the kids around, you can show them a classic. Not sure if they'll dig a black and white movie, but we can try. We can try.
Yes.
But that way we're not imposing on anything else. They might still hear a few screams from the haunted house because I think that's going to go as late as people will allow it to go. Mm-hmm. And more or less that's what we're doing. It's 3 o'clock until question mark. So as long as people are hanging out, having a good time, we'll keep things running.
And it's a Friday, so it's a beautiful way to start a weekend.
Yes, exactly.
The last weekend in September.
Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing Sophie's story.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And we invite the entire community out to this huge event, and we want this to go on for years and years and years to come.
I have a good feeling about that, Jamie. I'm telling you.
You do too. I do too. We've had a lot of really positive activity with it, and it's only goes up from here.
So Sophie's dad. It's Spooky Sophie's Halloween Bash is Friday, September 27th. Starts at 3 o'clock at the Northern District Fairgrounds.
Come out and support this family. Come out and support Baby Lane. And
just come out and have a good time.
Come out and have a good time. God bless you guys.
Jamie, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank, and we will join you next week, first week of October, for some more local chat here on 107.9 CDY.